Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Panda Boot Creates, where we are a community of crafters. Today we are going to be talking about crocheting, and specifically the magic circle, spiral, and crocheting in a round pattern. First here you can see my crocheting hooks. They come in various sizes, anywhere from I think 2mm all the way up to like 14 or something like that. These don't come in that range. I think the highest one is 12 for these ones, but I do have other ones that are bigger. These ones have a cool like rubber handle, and some of them are just plain metal. Obviously, it depends on where you get it from and how much you choose to spend on them. For beginners, you can just go get like some super cheap ones off of Amazon. And if you're wondering what size you need, it really depends on your yarn. So here you can see that it says 10mm hook, and that just means that on the actual hook itself it should say 10mm. Now sometimes they don't come in millimeters. You might have to convert it to inches or something, but most of the time it comes in millimeters, and you could just find the one that says 10. I also noticed that sometimes with my yarn it might say that I need a 5, but I find it too big or too small. And I go up a size or down a size. So it's not a hard and fast rule, it's just a suggestion. But most of the time, the suggestions are correct. So now we're going to start making our magic circle. You want to take a piece of yarn, loop it over your 2 fingers, and then make a cross with it. I try to make the cross so that it's on the top of my fingers. I find it more easy when it's on top. Some people do it so it's on the inside of your hand. And you're just going to take the crochet hook, you're going to feed it underneath the first yarn there, and then over top, hook it underneath, bring it back up, and then hook the other piece of yarn. Once you have the other piece of yarn hooked, you're going to pull it all the way through to create a knot. And now you're going to take your crochet hook and put it into the circle, up, yarn over, and pull it through like a single crochet. And you're going to keep doing this for however many stitches you want for your magic circle. It's typically 6, so you count 6 stitches. The one that is currently on your hook does not count. It's a lot easier to count as you go. If you lose count for whatever reason, maybe you got distracted, you can count how many little V's you see, and that will tell you how many stitches you have. And once you're done all 6 stitches, you can then pull that little string to tighten your circle. The difference between crocheting in a spiral versus crocheting in a round is that a spiral you would use for like animagi, if that's how you pronounce it, the little cute little animals. You would use a spiral, whereas crocheting in a round, you want it to be flat. So say you want a coaster, you would crochet in a round so that the circle is nice and flat. Say you want a ball, you would crochet in a spiral so that it is 3D, if that makes sense. So to crochet in a round, you would do a slip stitch. You hook your yarn through the front stitch right there and pull through. You don't yarn over. And with a spiral, you do yarn over. So it is a single stitch or single crochet as opposed to a slip. That is the only difference between the two. And to increase and decrease is the exact same way. So to increase, you would put 2 single crochets into the first stitch. So that stitch that you just did for your slip stitch or your single crochet, that is like the one stitch, if you will. And you want to put 2 single crochets into one. It is not doing a single crochet and then another single crochet. You're not doing 1 single crochet per stitch. You are doing 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. It can be very confusing with the terminology. Basically, you got to think about that you want to increase the amount of stitches. So if you only put 1 crochet stitch per stitch, then you're going to get the same amount of stitches every time. If you only put one single crochet into each stitch, you will then just keep getting 6 over and over and over again. You won't get 12. So you have to put 2 into 1. So if you want 12, you do 2 single crochets in every stitch after the original magic circle. And if you want 18, now you go 2 into 1, 1 into 1, 2 into 1, 1 into 1 until you get all the way around the round. Now you have 18. And if you want to keep going, you do 2 into each one until you have 24. And you just keep repeating that until you have 60 or however many stitches you want total, depending on your pattern. Now this is just a different way to start crocheting in a round or crocheting in a spiral. It is not a magic circle, but it is very similar to one. The difference being that there's a hole in the middle. The magic circle will make it so that there's no hole. It's just a nice tight circle. And this method will make it so that there's a hole. It is usually ideal for the magic circle over this method, but sometimes you need that hole to connect to another piece. Usually your crochet pattern will tell you if it needs to be a magic circle or not, but I would always assume that it's a magic circle instead of this method. I actually don't even know what this method is called. People have called it different things. I'm not sure it has an actual name. So basically what you would do is instead of 6 stitches in your magic circle as I showed you before, you do 6 chain stitches, which are kind of like little mini single crochets, but just in a line. So you'll wrap the yarn around your fingers the same way as you would start your magic circle, but instead of going through it a second time and pulling through, you just go through it once and pull through, and it creates a little knot, a little slip knot. And then you create 6 chains, as I said before. And then once you're done creating those 6 chains, you then connect it to the beginning using a slip stitch. And that's it, guys, and thanks for watching. And on Thursday, I'll actually be starting my Easter Bunny series, so be sure to check that out. I'll be crocheting a mini Easter Bunny using a pattern I found online. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe.